Good morning, welcome to another video. It's about 9:45 now. I've come out to the Grand Union, as you can see behind me, I'm sure, for a little bit of Zander fishing this morning. I've got 3 hours, absolutely tops, to do a little bit of Zander fishing this morning. I was umming and ahhing about whether to do some waggler fishing. I'm glad I chose the Zander gear because you can probably see from the canal, it's absolutely tanking it through. It's like fishing a river. Clearly the locks have been open, there's lots of people moving on their boats this morning. That shouldn't affect us on the Zander front. I've come to this cutting here because you may be able to hear it's quite windy as well today. So this will give us a little bit of shelter in here. And we can fish a little bit of this cover along here. Hopefully catch a few Zander, that's the plan. Now I have been out once since you last saw me, so I'll run you through that shortly. But for now, I think we'll get fishing. I've got my sort of standard Zander gear or predator gear. Here, this is my, I've got a couple of these. This is my Dower Black Widow extendable 9 foot 2 3/4 pound test curve rod, or rods I should say. I'll stick all the info on all the gear I'm using down in the description below. I do like these because they just fold up so small, they're cracking for doing this sort of thing, for roving about. And just to run you through the setup on the business end. At the top I've got a stop knot to stop the float. We're going to fish float ledger setup. Got a cheap Chinese float there, 10 grams, nice and visible. Below that we've got a drill bullet, this is 12 grams. So we'll know if we're not fishing on the bottom. That needs to be on the bottom, this needs to be on the top, sat flat. Between all these things I've got a bead. On the business end we've got a wire trace because we might encounter some pike. That's Drennan soft strand, and I've got a single circle hook on there. It's a Sakuma 440 pattern circle hook. Baits are going to be roach and smelt. Now these traces I tie up just very simply actually, but if you want to see how I tie them up, I'll stick a link up there and down in the description as well. You can go and have a look how I tie these up. I think we'll get cracking. We're on very short amount of time this morning. It's probably 2.5 hours realistically. I could push it to 3 if I really need to. But yeah, hopefully, hopefully these floats will withstand this flow because I'm not sure I've ever seen this canal moving quite this fast. But we'll have a crack anyway. Right, we'll drop these baits in bits of cover and as I say, we'll just have a move along the canal. We'll move up that way. There's lots more bits of cover up there. But yeah, this could be very tricky going today. It's not really that the canal's moving either too much, but you can probably see all the debris on the top. That's the problem. It's going to keep catching in the line and wipe us out. Right. We'll have a go anyway. This could be tricky going. We're already getting wiped out. What's that, 30 seconds? Right, I think what we're going to have to do, let's get the bag. Get my bag in here. Get the rods up in the air. Keep as much line out of the canal as possible. There we go, that should cope a bit better. Fish the rods barbel style. Tips up. Right, at least we can cope. We'll fish each bit of cover in turn, perhaps give it 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes if we're getting a bit of interest before we have a move. Could be tricky going this morning. We've had a weekend of rain again, and not only rain, it's been really cold rain. It's been raining and it's been sort of 5 degrees whilst it's raining. I'm sure that's going to have chilled the water. We'll do the water temperature in a minute, but I'm thinking it'll have certainly chilled the water down. That's gone in nice. As I say, I'm just going to fish with the rods up and the line quite tight to the float, just to keep it all out of the water. Fishing braid, so it's a bit easier than it would be with mono. It's quite light, isn't it, braid? I think I might drop this one on into that gap there. See if we can get that nice and tight in that cover. Ooh, nice cast. It's not like me. Right, fingers crossed. Hopefully we can have a Zander or two. Be nice. That's working quite well actually, getting those tips up. Now later on this week, I'm out at Linear. So tench fishing will be on the cards, perhaps a little bit carp fishing as well. But tench fishing is the main plan, despite the cold weather. I booked it quite a long time ago, because I'm on Hunt's Corner, you've got a book on there. I booked it quite a long time ago, thinking beginning of May, we're safe at the beginning of May. Some warm weather. It's been terrible. Absolutely terrible. As I say, it was raining on, well, it started Saturday night and finished Sunday lunchtime, and it was about 5 or 6 degrees the whole time it was raining. So I'm sure it will have knocked back the water temperature, which is never good in fishing, no matter what you're fishing for. Blimey, this really is tanking through this canal, and it's not stopping, it's not letting up at all. It's just constantly going through a sort of slow walking pace. We've got perhaps half a dozen bits of cover we can try along here. We'll give each one 20 minutes, it's probably just about time up then. Be nice to catch a Zander. Now, as I mentioned, I was out a few days ago, Friday I came out. I had a couple of hours in the morning on a different stretch to this, without a sniff. Not a sniff, absolutely nothing. So I gave that up as a bad job, went home, did some work, and my mate Mick was out and he said he was catching some Zander. Perhaps I'll come out again for a couple of hours in the evening. Bought my daughter, because she fancied doing a bit of fishing as well, my youngest, so we came and met Mick. Mick writes his own blog, if you want to have a look, I'll link you in up there and in the description as well. And so we came out, by the time we got here, I think it's a bit after the Lord Mayor's show, really. Had a couple of, Mick had to go, he had a couple of little half-hearted takes, and that was it. So we gave it perhaps an hour and a half. Well, by that time, when you've got an 8-year-old, they're bored if you're not catching anything. Cold, bored, need a wee, need a drink, need something to eat, so we knocked it on the head and went home. So yeah, it'd be nice to catch a Zander today. Fingers crossed we can do something. I was going to do the water temperature, but my temperature gauge is in that bag, so I think we'll do it in a minute when we have a move. But I'm betting it's had a knock. Things could be a bit slow today, but if you have a fish or two, be successful. It's not exactly warm this morning, but it's supposed to be warming up from today. So I'm hoping the tench fishing might be a bit better than it otherwise would have been. And it's not particularly going to warm the water up in 2 or 3 days. But hopefully a bit of sun on the water and slightly warmer weather will do something. All right, there's a bit of a twitch on that right hand float then. Yeah, we've got a bit of interest on this. Yeah, he's off, look. Hopefully you can see that. It floats off under the cover. That's that smelt. Right, circle hook, so we're just going to wind down. There we are. Looked a bit like a pike, that did. I dropped it. I think that was a pike. Well, that's frustrating, but it's a good start. We've only been fishing about 5 minutes or so. But yeah, that did very much look like a pike. It's not very deep over there, and it came to the top quite quickly. I saw it flare in its gills. Let's chop this bait down a bit. That's a bit big for my liking. Well, it wasn't particularly massive, so whether it was a pike or a zander, it wasn't particularly massive. Like I say, I saw it. So not the end of the world. Clearly didn't have the hook in his mouth. It did, as I say, it did look like a pike. There are a few pike along here, hence using the wire traces. Should have left that to develop a little bit, that bite, but the float was chugging off under that cover. I thought I'd better hit it. I didn't want the fish to get snagged up. Yeah, it has had a hit. I think it was 11.3 Friday. It's looking like it's about 10.5. All right, that's gone straight away. I've literally just cast it in. Something going on. Literally just cast that in. We'll let this develop a little bit. There we go, the float's just cocked. Well, it does look like we've got a bite. It sort of stopped and now it's going again. Something going on. Yeah, now it's gone. That's better. There we go. Right, let's see what we got here. I'm suspecting a small zander from the way that was messing with the bait. But it's a fish at least. Oh, it's dropped it. Not having a good time here, are we? He literally took that right as it went in. I can tell it was a small one. It's just messing about with the bait. Oh, not doing very well, are we? It was a small zander, I could tell. It's just the way it was. The float was messing about, and it stopped for a minute. As I say, it's clearly a little. Just on my way up to another area, I'll give this bit a go. Always looks quite good, this area, but never done any good here in the past when I've dropped in here occasionally. But you never know. Looks good. Snaggy little bit of canal. All right, well, I've just dragged that and we just had a take. And there's a boat coming, typically. I don't know what this is. It feels very strange. I'm shooting in. A little zander, I think. Just give that a little, it is a little zander. Oh, we've got the net set up. Well, it's the first bite I've ever had here. Boat's slowing down for us nicely. Little Zed, look, he's just grabbed that as I was bringing it in. Come on. Gotcha. Just gave that a twitch and he grabbed it. Morning.
Just catch something.
Yeah, little Zander. I just grabbed it as I was winding it in. Well, there we are. Look at him over the net. Angry little fella. Wonderful. Right, I'm sure there's some more down there. It's got to be. Yeah, just dragged that into the deeper water then. He'd obviously been eyeing it up. Just moved it because, as I said, there's a boat coming. Always pays to give the baits a little bit of a twitch before you bring them in. So many boats this morning, blimey. All this debris on the top has been such a problem today. You can probably see it all in front of us here. Really, really problematic. Working around it by getting the rod tips up in the air and getting a braid out of the water, but canal is tanking back that way now. A lot of boats moving. I guess it's because it's Monday and perhaps everyone's been moored up for the weekend, going off to, I don't know, fill their water tank, empty the toilet, I don't know. So just a new spot here that I've not fished before, but this looks quite Zandery, doesn't it? Got that structure in the water there, obviously that tree, sort of dead tree and old branches and stuff in the water. And we've got a bush that's fallen into the water over there. They both look very Zandery. And I've positioned the baits sort of upstream of them, if you like. I say upstream, the canal's going that way, generally most of the time, just to hopefully push a bit of scent underneath them. That's my thinking. Be nice to have another one before we go. I wasn't expecting too much this morning with the like I said, the rain that we've had and the water temperature taking a hit. Alright, that's definitely being pulled. There's definitely a few pulls. I was just looking at that float and just saw it 2 or 3 times. That got pulled. The trouble is, because I'm having to fish quite a tight line to the float, there's a bit of resistance there. This is why as soon as I've getting any sort of interest, I'm picking the rod up, slacking the line off. But again, bit of an inquiry, then it stopped. There's definitely a few pulls like that on the float, and then it stopped. They're just not really that interested at the moment. See if we can winkle another one out anyway. Let's try. It seems less debris on the canal down here. Let's try fishing a bit slacker. It's almost like they're pulling the bait, picking the bait up and feeling the rod tip and dropping it, because then, like I say, they don't seem that interested. Right, I think I'm going to call it a day there. There's so much crud here again. It's just dragging these floats out of position. We fished all along this stretch. We've fished probably a third of a mile of canal. I think they're just picking these baits up. They're not really interested. You can kind of tell they're sort of in that mood where, you know, we can't turn down free food, but then they pick it up and they're not really that bothered. That's why two of them not taking the bait properly. So I think that being that, and the fact that I need to get home and do some work, means I'm going to call it a day. But it's nice that we caught a fish in a spot that we don't normally fish. That's good, so that's another spot I can try in the future, certainly when they're a bit more on it. I did know it was going to be tricky today. I knew the water would have had a hit, the water temperature. I did think it was going to be tricky today. I thought perhaps we could winkle a few fish out, but just the one. As I say, we lost one and lost what I think was a pike as well, but nothing of any size. I did fancy getting out again before I get off to Linear, middle of the week. I've actually got 2 sessions booked at Linear, very close to each other. So really looking forward to that. I've timed it just about right with the weather, certainly for me anyway, to not get too cold. It's going to be relatively mild over the coming days. Although it'd be nice if it'd done it about a week ago and sort of warmed the water up a bit. But you know, there's tench coming over. I see on social media there's tench coming out over the country. So we've got a good chance, I think. I should probably do my usual, if you've seen the videos from last year, I tend to do a bit of carp fishing at night and tench fishing during the day. And if we're not doing any good in the day on the tench, you can always stick a zig out or something and fish for carp. I'm going to be on Hunt's Corner and on Manor over the coming week. A couple of overnighters. So yeah, looking forward to that. First one with my mate Nick, and the second one I'll be on with me Jack Jones. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. It's yeah, tough one this morning, but there you go. We got out and we caught a fish, lost a fish, and one came off straight away. So 2-1 to the fish this morning. As I say, we've had several inquiries in other swims, just little plucks on the float, pulls on the bait, and they're not really interested. They're not really interested. We'll have to come back perhaps in a week's time. Hopefully they won't be in mid spawning and we can have a bit more sport. Anyway, I'm waffling. I've got to go home. Now, as I say, next time you see me, we'll be at Linear. Till then, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Many thanks to the channel patrons for your fantastic support, and I'll see you again very soon.